What's a secret you'll take to the grave, but don't mind sharing on the internet?
Story 1. When I was 13, I went a week and a half without pooping. I was on a camping trip, and something must have been wrong with the drinking water or my digestion. I took laxatives, but nothing worked. My stomach was killing me, but nothing would come out. Then one evening after dinner, I felt it coming. I knew this was it. I bolted for the bathhouse, mentally preparing for the epic event. When I finally waddled in, all the stalls were occupied. At this point, I'm freaking out. I'm literally about to shit my pants, in the woods, with no way to clean up. I waddled to the private shower attached to the bathrooms, and my desperate brain started solving problems like I was Bradley Cooper in Limitless. At first, I thought about just going on the shower drain and waffle stomping it through, but I didn't want to be that guy who ruined the nicest shower in the woods for everyone. Like a bolt of lightning, I knew what I had to do. I pooped in the only piece of clothing I could spare, my sock. Obviously, my stomach felt much better afterward, and I was hugely relieved. I took the poop sock to the nearby dumpster, but one of my friends saw me on the way. Before I could toss it, he started a conversation and asked what I was doing. Internally, I was panicking. The best excuse I could come up with was that I'd found a sock in the shower stuffed with mud, so I thought it best to throw it away. My friend said what a good guy I was for doing that. I threw the poop sock into the dumpster, and my problems were finally over. Mud in a sock is a ridiculous story, but there's absolutely no way he could have guessed that the truth was much, much stranger. I've never told a soul about this until now, and I never will again. Story 2. My dad cheated on my mom and even invited the woman over when I was 9. She was severely overweight, and my dad is also quite overweight. My parents were fighting but trying to work things out. They were sleeping in separate rooms at the time. Earlier that day, I had jumped on his bed and accidentally broke the board supporting the bed frame. I wasn't supposed to do that and always got in trouble for it. Later, my mom realized my dad had company because she smelled that someone had been smoking in the house. She asked me if I had jumped on the bed. I said no, afraid I'd get in trouble. I was surprised when she didn't ask any more questions or try to prove I was lying. Years later, I remembered why she had asked and realized that my lie basically confirmed he'd been sleeping with the woman. I'm sure he did, and that's what ended up getting him kicked out of the house. Story 3. You know those stories about girls in the 1970s who went to live with an aunt for a year during high school? I did that in 2008. I was a very naive teenager with irregular periods, and my friend thought it would be absolutely hilarious to buy some cheap pregnancy tests at Walmart and see what happened. We laughed the whole time, until one of them came back positive. We couldn't remember which was which, so we bought 2 more, and it turned out it was mine. That's when it finally hit me that I had actually had sex. My school didn't offer any kind of sex education, and my parents were completely useless in that regard. I panicked and swore my friend to secrecy. I basically pushed it out of my mind until my clothes stopped fitting. I was always close with my older cousin, and one night while we were on the phone and she asked how school was going, I just spilled everything. She came up with the perfect plan. It was already April, and when I finally got the courage to go to Planned Parenthood, they told me I was due in August. So my cousin called my mom and said there was this amazing summer music program in her town that I just had to attend, and that I could stay with her the whole time. My mom thought it was a great idea, and the day after school ended, I got on a plane to San Francisco. I stayed with my cousin. She went to all my appointments with me and helped me find a social worker and, eventually, my daughter's adoptive parents. When I came back home before junior year started, my mom asked how my summer was, without really caring, and then remarked that I must have lost a few pounds. My cousin died in a car accident in 2012, and no one else ever knew except that one friend, the doctors I saw in Oakland, and the people involved in the adoption. I get a photo and a letter about my daughter once a year, and I send money for her college fund and a birthday card every year. When she turns 16, her parents are allowed to give her the cards if she wants them, but they aren't permitted to share any contact information. I have no desire to meet her or get to know her personally. I just need to know she's safe and comfortable. That's all I want. I will die before I tell anyone about her. And if my friend ever spilled the beans, I'd deny it. Story 4. I don't really know how to word this, but since this will probably end up near the bottom, I don't think it'll get much attention anyway. I just need to vent. I'm a guy, a second-year college student. I'm friends with a lot of girls. Literally, I'm the dad of my dorm because I look after everyone like one. A girl, a very close friend I made this year, told me she was raped years ago by an ex. The thing is, she's not the only one. Almost every girl I become friends with has a similar story, some awful story about some monster who did this to them. A girl from last year was raped and actually caught an STD from her rapist. Now she has to tell every guy she likes about it, and they always end up running away, leaving her heartbroken. It kills me. Every time I see them, I hug them a little tighter. I worry about them constantly, and it breaks my heart that it doesn't stop, that it keeps happening to others. I've never told anyone their stories because they trusted me with them, but I wish I could do more. Even just as their friend, I wish I could take on their pain myself so they didn't have to carry it. I'll never share their stories, but they trusted me for a reason, and I just wish I knew how to help. I know I'll probably hear another story from another girl soon, and all I can really do is hug them and be there for them. So yeah, thanks for reading this, strangers. I don't know if it really fits the post, but I just needed to get it off my chest. It feels like a bit of a weight lifted just to finally say something, even if this is the only place I can. Story 5. When I was 12, my parents sent me to a Jewish summer camp in Colorado, and I absolutely hated it. My parents had just divorced. I'd gained about 35 pounds from stress eating, and I was miserable. The camp was surprisingly intense. We went mountain climbing in the Rockies, which was cool, but I was from Tennessee and spent most of the time dealing with altitude sickness. We had to swim across a lake, hike in the rain, and camp for 4 days straight. On top of that, I was preparing for my bar mitzvah, so I had a tape recorder with me to practice the Torah portions. It was a lot for a 12-year-old. My family wasn't strict about keeping kosher, but the camp was. I think the sudden change in diet really didn't agree with me. After a few weeks, my stomach was a mess, and I was just counting down the days until I could go home. One night, the counselors surprised us with an overnight trip to see the stars. It was supposed to be a special treat. The sky really was beautiful, until dinner hit me the wrong way. We'd eaten something called hobo packs, ground beef and vegetables cooked in foil over the fire. And soon I realized I was in serious trouble. I ran into the woods, and, well, let's just say it was a disaster. My clothes didn't survive, and in a panic, I tried to clean up as best I could. But when I tossed my ruined underwear into the trees, it got stuck on a branch, and I suddenly remembered that my mom had written my full name on the tag. There was no way to get it down. I had to leave it there, hanging for anyone to find. Somewhere in Colorado, there's probably still a very embarrassing reminder of that night. I went back to the campfire feeling completely humiliated and told everyone I'd gotten sick from the food. They ended up calling someone to drive me back. 2 hours, covered in shame and trying to pretend everything was fine. Even now, years later, I still think about that night sometimes. The memory of that long ride back and the thought of my name-tagged underwear hanging in the woods will probably haunt me forever. Story 6. My mom passed away from breast cancer. She also had MS, which she was diagnosed with not long after I was born. In the end, the treatments stopped working and the cancer spread to her lungs. The last week we spent with her in the hospital was heartbreaking. I cried so much that I'm still surprised I have any tears left. There are 2 things I could never tell my family. First, I'm not really sad that she died. I mean, I miss her terribly, but mostly I feel relieved that she's no longer suffering. She went through so much pain for so long that it feels selfish to wish she were still here. When I cry for her, it's usually because I want her comfort or her guidance, not because I wish she had to keep enduring what she did. Second, watching her illness changed the way I think about my own future. I've decided that if I ever develop cancer, I won't go through intense treatments like chemo or radiation. Unless it's something simple and treatable, I don't want to spend years in pain just to buy a little more time. I'd rather focus on living whatever time I have left with acceptance and peace. And one more thing I've never said out loud. I'm angry that my mom passed away before she could see me graduate. She got to see both of my older siblings graduate, but not me. It sounds petty, but it hurts. I wanted her to be there for at least one big moment in my life. When my dad told my sister, "At least she got to see you graduate," right in front of me, it broke something inside. Anyway, I have a lot of pent-up feelings about it all, but writing this out helps. Thanks for listening. Story 7. Ugh, I feel like such a terrible person saying this, but here it goes. I was 11 when my dad died of cancer. During his final days in hospice, my family spent time by his bedside, quietly keeping him company as he was slipping away. I had the option to do the same, but honestly, I hated it. I hated being around all that sadness, the smell of medicine, the quiet, the waiting. It was Christmas, and all I wanted was to be home. Looking back, I can't believe I didn't stop to think that my dad was literally on his deathbed. Every time we visited, I'd sit outside his room playing games on my phone or reading a book, just trying to pass the time. I knew he was going to die, and he was barely responsive anyway, so in my childish mind, I didn't see the point. I know how awful that sounds, and it still makes me feel sick to admit it. He passed away in early January, just a few days after his birthday. That day, I didn't go see him. I chose to spend it at a friend's house instead. I was lazy, detached, and completely unaware of how much I'd regret it. Around 11 p.m., just as I was falling asleep, the house phone rang over and over. I ignored it, thinking it was some random call. Then my friend's parents came into the room and told me my dad had died. I wasn't shocked that he was gone. I'd known it was coming, but the guilt hit me like nothing else. I can't stop thinking about how I didn't even bother to be there when it mattered most. Story 8. I have a great job working for a sports radio station as a producer for their afternoon drive show. It's legitimately my dream job, working in sports broadcasting. You'd think I'd need a solid college degree for that, right? Nope. I'm confident and can sell anything. I dropped out of community college because I had to work to support myself. My employer thinks I graduated from a 4-year university because that's what I told them. When we talk about college sports, I just say my supposed school doesn't have great teams. They don't. Or any teams at all. For what it's worth, I did work at my college's radio station, recorded music for my friends' bands, and produced a podcast for a buddy. So I'm technically qualified for what I do. I just learned some things on the fly. I've been lying to my current girlfriend for a while now, but that's nothing new. I lied to my ex of 4 years, lied to another ex of 4 years, and now I'm lying to my current girlfriend. The lies aren't why they left, though. They just think my past was a lot better than it really was. I work out a lot, and I'm proud of my body. Back in high school, I was a twig. My last 3 girlfriends and my coworkers think I was a volleyball, track, and baseball star. The truth? I quit baseball when I was 16 and never did the others. It's believable because of what I do now. I'm really into rock climbing and amateur wrestling. Anyway, there's a lot more. I'm sitting here eating lunch, realizing how many different stories my friends and family each know about me. Do I get caught sometimes? Sure. Do I fix it with more lies? You bet I do. Basically, my life is built on fabrication. I have an awesome life, an amazing girlfriend, the perfect job, great friends, and a loving family. But I still lie, I guess because it's fun. I don't regret a single lie I've told. Oh, and for the record, my lies aren't to hurt anyone. Not about cheating, stealing, or anything like that. They're just little things to make situations, and myself, seem a bit more exciting. Story 9. Okay, so I have never told this to anyone, so obviously I'm using a throwaway. Honestly, I'm kind of glad this question came up because now I can finally get it off my chest. When I was about 8 years old, I had this really weird habit of smearing my poop on the wall. Don't ask me why, I just did it. I definitely had some issues back then. Anyway, I was away at church camp, and for some reason, I had been doing the same thing there too. A few days in, everyone was gathered in the main hall for a meeting. At the front were all the camp coordinators and one very angry-looking woman. Once everyone settled down, she stepped forward and announced that we were going to play a game. This game is called Toilets. The entire hall, packed with about 100 kids, erupted in laughter. I mean, what's funnier to a group of children than a game with the word toilets in it, right? And poos. We completely lost it. If the laughter before was a 10, this was a solid 100. Everyone thought this was going to be the funniest, most ridiculous game ever. The woman, however, didn't seem amused at all. After the laughter died down, she pulled out several rolls of toilet paper and had us pass them around. Then she asked if we knew what they were. Of course, we all said yes. Well, someone here clearly does not, she said. Then she explained that someone had been smearing poop on the bathroom walls, and because of it, 5 or 6 kids had gotten sick. One even ended up in the hospital. That's when the guilt hit me like a truck. She kept going, listing all the horrible consequences waiting for the person responsible, and in the same breath demanded that they come forward right then and there. Naturally, I stayed quiet. After about 10 minutes of her threatening to find out who did it and promising that there would be hell to pay, we were finally dismissed. As we were leaving, my friend laughed and said, "I bet it was that fat kid. probably ran out of toilet paper and started using the walls instead. I laughed and agreed. But it wasn't the kid everyone made fun of. It was me. I was the one who smeared poop on the walls. Not surprisingly, that was the day I ended that disgusting habit for good, and I've never spoken about it since. Story 10. I didn't grow up with a stable family. In fact, no one even knows who took care of me until I was about a year and a half old. It was just a series of different people. My mom didn't want anything to do with me, and I bounced around between family members. There was a lot of domestic violence. Because of all that, I developed some serious attachment issues. I struggled with dark thoughts from a young age, and things only got worse when my first boyfriend in high school broke up with me, admitting he'd been lying the whole time and never really loved me. In college, I met another guy. I knew I was still struggling and couldn't handle feeling abandoned again, so I asked him, as a condition of dating me, to promise that no matter what happened, even if we broke up, we'd stay friends. No matter what. I even joked, even if I turn into an axe murderer. He laughed and promised he wouldn't abandon me. Over time, and through the years we spent together, he helped me climb out of the hole I'd been in for so long. The way I see it is kind of like that scene in Inside Out with the core memories and the pillars labeled things like family and friends. You can't build those pillars without a foundation, and I didn't have one. Together, we built that foundation. It wasn't perfect, but it was mine. I developed real self-worth, and I learned that I was capable of being loved. Eventually, though, he forgot about that promise. Even though I brought it up many times, emotionally, sometimes desperately, he told me I was making it up, that I was gaslighting him. I couldn't believe he'd forgotten something that meant so much to me. For a long time, I thought that meant he never really cared. But with time, I realized people truly do forget things, and that it wasn't necessarily a reflection of him or what we had. The truth was, staying in contact had started to hurt him. I'd hurt him too, with my clinginess and emotional neediness. Every time we talked, it just brought up pain for both of us. I could see how much he was struggling, and I genuinely wanted him to be happy, so I let him go. I released him from his promise and tried to act like it didn't matter anymore. I tried to show him I didn't care, that he was free to move on completely. But I do care. It's not romantic anymore. I've been in other relationships since then, and I've been with my husband for 5 years now. But that guy will always feel like family. He's not my whole world, but he's part of the foundation of who I am. And even though he's gone, and I'll probably never make things right between us, I'll always be grateful to him for helping me build something solid, something I never had before. Story 11. I got a phone call from my brother one night. He was screaming. He said our dad had just been attacked by a group of guys outside his small factory. Background: I live on the other side of the country from my dad. He's in his 60s and has been through the worst decade of his life. About 10 years ago, he split up with my mom and moved into a small factory where he literally sleeps on the floor. For a while, things looked up. He met a new woman and remarried quickly, even though none of us kids supported it. At first, he seemed happy. She encouraged him to develop a product idea he'd had for years, but then she pushed him to sell everything. His retirement properties, savings, everything, to fund it. She took all the money, traveled around Europe and the US with her daughter, and hired expensive lawyers and manufacturers without actually paying them. Once she'd drained him financially, she left, moved to another state, changed her name, and even filed a restraining order against him. It didn't hold up in court, but it broke his heart. He'd never been violent. He was just deeply in love and devastated. The years that followed were brutal. The stress destroyed his health. He was broke, his friends drifted away, and he started having mild heart attacks, about once a month. He'd wake up in the early morning, drive himself to the ER, and tell no one. We'd only find out afterward. The medication made him gain weight and drained his energy. On top of that, the factory landowner told him the property was going to be developed, meaning his home would eventually be torn down. Every time my phone rang, I was terrified it would be the call telling me he was gone. The night of the fight, my dad was asleep on the factory floor when he heard loud banging. Someone was kicking the tin wall. He went outside and found a group of teenagers taking turns fly-kicking the wall for fun. He told them to leave, but they wouldn't. When he threatened to call the police, he grabbed one of their bags that had been left on the ground. The group rushed him, grabbed the bag back, and ran off. Thinking they might come back to break in, he called his only friend left, a mechanic who worked next door, and also tried calling my younger brother, who lived nearby. but it was around 3 a.m., so he didn't answer. A few minutes later, several cars showed up. The teens had brought their dads. They told them my dad had tried to start a fight, and soon the men and their kids surrounded him, pushing, taunting, and even hitting him. One of the dads and a teen jumped on him, throwing punches, while yelling things like, "You're a sick old man," and "Pick on someone your own age." The worst part? The mechanic just stood there watching. When the fight got too close to his car, he literally got in, moved it a few meters away, and went back to standing there. Eventually, the police arrived, and instead of arresting anyone, they just told everyone to go home. The attackers tried to tell them my dad was some kind of predator, but of course, that wasn't true. My dad ended up with a black eye and bruises, but he actually felt oddly proud that he'd stood his ground and survived. Aftermath. There are 3 of us sons, all trained in martial arts, and it killed us that we weren't there. My brother, who's over 6 feet tall and built like a tank, was especially furious. He works in security installations and immediately went to get the surveillance footage from the mechanic's shop. The mechanic refused, but my brother made it clear he wasn't asking. The video showed everything: the gang arriving, the fight, and the mechanic doing nothing. I never watched it myself, but my brother did, and it destroyed him. He wanted revenge, but my dad begged him not to do anything. Still, we found out where the main attacker and his father lived, and the gym they trained at. Coincidentally, one of my brother's friends owned that gym. Through work, my brother also had connections with some very intimidating people. They offered to handle it, but he didn't want that. He just wanted a fair one-on-one fight. They waited for the man at the gym. When he went into the locker room, my brother followed and confronted him. "So you like ganging up on old men, huh?" he said, and then fought him. The guy cowered and denied everything, but my brother told him he'd seen the footage. It wasn't revenge, exactly, more like closure. He got his justice, and that was the end of it. Now, after all that chaos, things are strangely looking up. We're actually in the process of signing a deal with a major investment firm to finally launch my dad's product, the one he lost everything for. It could genuinely change its industry. After everything he's been through, maybe this is finally the beginning of something good. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, activate the notification bell, and share a similar story or anything you'd like to say in the comments. See you next time.